Good evening, welcome to the Newport Board of Education special meeting. May I have a roll call, please? Here. 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 All right, you all join in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. I have a moment of reflection. Right. Mr. Atkins.
Yes, so the impact survey was given across the state of Kentucky several months ago. All public schools take this survey and it's in working condition for each school. The survey is taken every 2 years, and the purpose of the survey is for teachers and staff members to give voice about really what's working well, what are areas of growth, and then for administrators, committees, groups to then come together and say, what can we do to make the working conditions better for schools? So with everything that was going on over the past couple of months, whether it be our ready data, our new superintendent, all that kind of stuff, we're now getting to sharing its impact. And I know the principals have been working on that steps. So primary school, actually we got on our high school. High school will go first. They're good? Sure. Sorry.
Do I need to,
Do you have a presentation?
I sent it to Ken, but. Okay. I can, yes.
Yeah, this is gonna be earlier today.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So this is our impact survey results for the high school. Mr. Atkinson, we taken it several months ago. Going to look at some of the results here. On this slide right now, you can see that 9 topics, 9 areas are addressed in the impact survey. We had 45 staff members respond, which is 100%. Here are the 9 areas that are covered in our impact survey, and the scores that we received are on the left. In the larger numbers, the state average is the number below that, and then you can see in the upper right-hand corner how much our scores have went up or went down from the previous impact survey.
That's great.
So I'm just going to walk through some of these with you and kind of look at them, but I'll give you a minute to look at that. You'll see there that some of them rank a little bit higher than the state average, which we are proud of.
When was the survey?
First week of December.
Yeah, December.
Yeah, we get our results. It's like every 2 months later.
middle part of February. Okay, so then moving on, so in this, on this slide, kind of our big picture is that all 9 categories improved from the previous survey. Not most of them, but they all are now above. There's a couple that are above the state average, which Mr. Ritchie and I are very happy to see. The school's in a better place, in a different place than it had been before we had gotten there. And really, this is our main focus this year coming in was to address the culture and the climate and to start getting things moving in the right direction as far as that goes. Okay. I think the staff leadership relationships is at 95%, school leadership at 85%, and staff emotional well-being is at 66%, which is important to us, of course. We want our teachers to feel respected and that we are appreciative of them. That is a big jump here, and as you see in the white and blue there, it's 8 points above the state average. So again, it's stuff that we are very proud of, and that we really focus on our work in the summer of what can we do to make Newport High School continue to move forward and make it better each year. And our main goal this year is the climate and culture. Then some of the positive things that we see here, again, staff and leadership relationships are school leadership is up. And, the number that really kind of got us and that we were super proud of is, if you look on the previous slide, I meant to point out, but all of our staff say that they feel that we are respectful towards them. We really try to advocate for our staff, listen to them, provide them an opportunity to come in and vent if they need to, and really just trying to build that relationship with them. Some of our focus areas is professional development was one of our lowest scoring areas. Even though it went up, it was still one of our lowest scoring areas. So with Autumn and myself, Bert, and along with Mr. Atkins, we are really working on developing a professional development plan that focuses on our teachers and what they want, what they need in order to continue to learn and grow. The other things here, that the student behavior is still a challenge. Okay, that it is something that we have focused on this year. Our discipline referrals are down, major events are down, but it's still an area that we are working on to address and continue to put systems in place that can help us just continue to move throughout the day where behavior is not as much of an interruption as it has been in the past. The other thing is, one of our other low scoring areas are our resources. Again, working with Jenny Stewart and Autumn, of really just trying to get surveys out to staff of what kind of resources they need to be successful, what kind of resources can we afford to purchase, and really be intentional with that process. Okay. Again, that kind of goes into our 3 areas of need: is the professional learning, the managing student behavior. It has grown, but it is still something that we are definitely going to focus on, along with where our resources are, what can we do to help our teachers, help our students, and again continue to make things happen. And you can see there, all of them are very close to the state average. But again, we're going to continue to work to try to improve those scores moving forward. Any questions so far with any of those?
Average for resources?
It is 51%. Yeah, we're 1% above. It's just one of the things I think that we, with a lot of new teachers in the building this year, and a lot of and then of course, coming off of the budget issues and concerns that, it's just really, again, trying to get that out to the staff. What do you need? What can we do to help? And then really sitting down, looking at that, and being intentional with our funds and trying to figure out what can we do to maximize student learning, help our teachers. So that's going to be an ongoing process forever. Our next steps, we're going to focus on our professional development. We have sent out multiple Google surveys throughout the year, just asking teachers for feedback on PD that we have had, and then asking them what kind of professional development they want or would like to have in the future. You know, things like AI policies and things like that, that we can really kind of bring in, implement, and expand our knowledge base here. Again, continuously addressing student behavior and really putting some systems in place, really kind of ramping up our PBIS and getting that in place a little more, focusing in on our restorative practices instead of just, suspending kids or removing them to BIC or to the new pathways. Like, what can we do to really address the behaviors that are happening? And then again, the resource equity, just making sure that we are always getting some teacher voice and feedback in there, what you need. And I like to tell them, I'm not necessarily a no person, I'm more of a not yet. Like, let me find out and see if this is something that we can do. We may not be able to purchase it this year, but maybe next year. But again, we're going to continue to try to get all the things that we need to make our school successful. And then that was really it. That was, I put it there like, we're not done. We know where we need to go. We know where we're at, and we're going to continue to work to try to raise those numbers every year.
Well, I commend you and your staff for the job well done. And it supports what I heard when I came over to the building. That was the conversation that I was hearing from the staff. So to see it in the data is really powerful. And I like that you're using the data to, like, I saw that you were auditing, past professional development. So seeing the data, seeing what they had, and as well as looking at the data when it came to discipline and behavior.
Yes, like I mentioned today, just with PD, almost an hour and a half long conversation of our plan this summer, moving into next year, and really trying to focus on what we need.
And the restorative practice really hit home for us as we went to a national school board conference, and the speaker that did the conference, that's what was it Simpson, Ralph Simpson? Yeah. That is what he models, that's what he does. So his leadership is around restorative practices. So, we were very impressed, with that, and how he presented that to us, how all the people that he brought to the table and the parents were brought to the table when it came to talking about restorative practices. And that was impressive to us. I mean, he did such an awesome job in the presentation. We switched our class to his class because he went into more detail about how he does it. But bringing it back to all the teachers, everybody that was involved in their child's life, they bring into this meeting and talk about the offense and work on the restorative practice. But they spend time getting to know the child, the family, the cause, behavior, and all that. It was excellent. So I see that. Me and Jen did high five, like that was a buzzword for us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's exciting. To know that we're already doing.
We're at there, yes.
And something that should be noted is that, we didn't bring in TP until after this was done. So you guys didn't really, yeah, you had PD earlier in the year. That was the big impactful PD that was new and, just a great improvement to bring to the table. So I'm fully confident the next teacher survey will be better.
You mentioned AI. I went to a presentation with the KSBA, gentleman did a 3-hour thing on AI. I'll get my notes and get his name and contact information for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Help policies and that sort of thing.
That would be awesome. Yeah, because right now, our high school English department is really working on trying to draft some kind of policy. It's obviously their task of writing, and that says it's so on there.
It's okay, Dave, just want to do the same.
Try it.
It's a real, it is part of our,
Yes, it is.
culture, and it's become an accepted practice. So,
This is exceptional, considering the short period of time you had
yes.
when you started, and you did this survey of the symptoms.
Yeah, and see so much growth.
You have come a long way, and I'm gonna commend you. But also, like the other one you said about next step.
Yes.
So, I would like to know as the next step, we now have a website for volunteers. And how can we improve on that, along improving our kids, our staff, our discipline? How
I think one of the things that, like we talked about, working on and trying to start to implement is getting more of, like an actual newsletter from the high schools. I'll send out messages, but I would like to get out more of like a newsletter to start with, and then really, when we have football games, basketball games, really kind of getting some kind of PA announcement, some sheet out, something, set up a table, talk to Ms. Watts about helping organize some things that we can have assigned on a table, like essentially right by like where you buy tickets for a basketball game. And so that way, as you come in, you always have your force to see the table.
you on my street?
So, that way, it's, yes,
Whatever they are, you gotta have the paper trail, so I'm doing it.
absolutely.
Log in, at the door, whatever, I don't care if they've seen it before, we don't get, because they don't get everything, they don't pay attention.
Right.
So we don't be there with their children, we would now probably never would need to be to improve this. And I'm not just talking about high school, I'm just gonna bring it to all the people who get up there, because we really need to do this. I know it can be done, and I know it's hard being a kid, or hard being a parent, and I know parents just feel like they're not welcome. But now's the time, like you said, where do we go from here? We got these next steps.
Right.
We gotta keep pushing.
And then one of the things we started with the River City schools and like Larry Tibbs and Tim Aaron is really working on a student leadership group to where we're working with other schools, but like our goal for that is to get out
Yeah, we gotta
into the
take care of
community
homeless.
and do all kinds of different things, from volunteer work to community like cleanup days to anything and everything is basically going to be on the table for that. And that's the goal that all the principals in River City we talked about multiple times. So that was something we met back in March 20th was our first meeting of just trying to get everybody together. And then in the summer, we're really going to start ramping that up to get that implemented for the course of next year.
It takes commitment, it takes sacrifices. So we gotta keep this pushing.
That's
Vision, and we talk a lot of language.
And it's exciting to hear collaboration with the River City principals.
Yeah.
It's been good so far.
I was just saying, just a reminder, next year, there's on the way to family engagement days. And, just heard it from Rick, and he's talked about how beneficial those are. So those are days that we'll implement, one's in October, one's a little bit later in the year, to try to get every single family into the school on those days. He said they've been used to it this year, so that's something that's going to be our conversation.
It's 10:14.
You know, one of the things that we have obviously the Christmas parks. In different streets, in Newport, Ann Street, Liberty Street, all the streets. They would have a park, where the streets is very full of, and these parks to get the communication out to these parents.
Oh, yeah.
I did. All right, so impact survey, for Newport Intermediate School, we gave ours on December 17th. So just kind of a overview of the first two slides, kind of what the impact survey is. It's just getting the educators' input. I did have 30 people, we had 100% participation. So all 30 of them did take that. Just some clarification, the percentages is the percent favorable, so I obviously want the percentage to be high. And and that's just like, with the questions, it's like a rating scale, so like sometimes it's I agree a lot to down to I strongly disagree, and so with all those scores together, it's looking at how many of those 30 people strongly agree. And that kind of breaks that down, just so.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
It's kind of where if someone says somewhat, or I would agree, it doesn't overscore. It doesn't give it that favor. So I always find that kind of interesting where it's like, oh, my data's not great. But they're kind of in the middle. Not strongly disagree, and they're not strongly agree. So that doesn't show us favor.
Right, yeah, that makes percentages. Just another food for thought, we had, I think, 40 people take it 2 years ago, and 30 people take it this year. Only, I think, 8 people who took it this year were on staff 2 years ago. So, majority of the people who took it are new to Newport, new to Newport Intermediate, and some new to teaching, like 5, 6, 7 So, just background information, because unfortunately, my data is not as good as his, but he has some really great numbers, and I think that having such a new staff is a big influence, not that they don't have good staff, they have new staff. But looking at my data, and I do have the impact report, so pull up so we can look at those numbers too. This mine slide was more of an analysis of the numbers, but the two big things that I kind of had on my side of the scale are positive with relationship and safety. Our educators feel as though I have a really good relationship with them. They feel treated well. We have a really good culture going on in the intermediate school right now. Among the adults, we have a really big teamwork mentality. Everyone is really boots to the ground, doing whatever it takes to succeed. And they've seen a lot of increase too in our safety protocols and just holding students accountable to behavior. So there's been a lot of positive responses about the systems that have been put in place by administration to help. Thinking about kind of the opposite side where we have room to grow and what our data showed was our lowest scoring section was resources. Our ability and feeling the hurt of the staff cuts that we went from previous year down to this year. So a lot of staff members, when we think about resources in our building, it's not stuff, it's not technology, it's people. We're feeling the pain of not being understaffed, but just the difference in the amount of staff. So that when you think of resources at the intermediate school, it's people, not stuff. So just so you have that knowledge. And then well-being, there's a big section of questions in the impact survey that talk about like how do you feel about your coworkers' mental health and their well-being? Like, do you feel like everyone's okay? Are you worried about people's well-being because of work? Questions like that. I actually had a lot of answers that were middle, kind of that like, I don't really know one way or another, and so that impacts our data. So our teachers are concerned for each other, but the data really showed it's not that they're feeling bad. And we discussed this in a faculty meeting, we analyzed this data in February when it came out. A lot of them were just like, I care about my coworkers. I'm worried that, the weight of this career and the work we do is a lot. So that's kind of where that analysis also came from. Looking at our positives, the section that we also have a lot of good data on was staff leadership relationships was 80% favorable. Educating all students was 73% favorable, and school leadership was 70% favorable. These are some of our higher scoring. With the staff and leadership relationships, a lot of those answers were in the 80 and 90 percentiles. So I felt really good about that. There are two major sections that I feel like I have a big role in. Some of the resources and professional development, that's a district and school partnership, but like the way my staff feels as they attributed from me, I have direct control of, and those have direct control. So I felt really good about that, just for the workplace environment. Our staff feels equipped to support diverse classrooms. We had a big deep dive, big conversation about this in February. Our teachers really called each other out for some of their responses. Like, you're working in a diverse school district, you better feel comfortable teaching diverse learners. And there was a lot of really good, like, uncomfortable conversation about, like, feeling equipped and why you don't feel equipped and how you can improve and what we can do to help you and stuff. And it was staff conversation. Like, I gave them the data and they started talking. It was really nice. It's really magical to watch them kind of have that breakdown of information. So, and then, yeah, school leadership. So our leadership team really is, obviously we want a positive school culture, but our biggest thing this year has been implementing systems for accountability for teachers, and for students, and for families, so that we feel that this is an environment for learning, not just a place you have to go because no losses. So I've been really proud of the work we're doing on that. Support when it matters most. One of the highest, most positive answers we had was the question that when challenges arise in your personal life, how understanding are your school leaders? I feel very strongly that my admin team and I do a really, really good job of being like, it's okay that you're out for the third day in a row because your child has and then, we shut the door and we figure it out. And that makes me feel good as a leader, that my staff feels like I support them when life happens, because that's not always the way it works. So, empathy, in my opinion, this last line that I put here on the slide, empathy is what keeps great teachers in our schools, and I think that's true. When they feel like we care, when they feel like we listen, when they feel like we will bend over backwards to help them, they'll stick around even when it's hard. And it's hard. We have hard work to do, but I really do believe that the people in my building recognize the difficulty, but they're willing to do it because it's another positive was the secure learning environment. We had 87% positive percentage on that, so they feel like our school environment is safe. Even when emergencies arise or things happen, the policies that we put in place and the systems we have, the teachers follow. We are all aware of the safety thing that happened on Monday in our building, and I'm happy and proud to say that our teacher followed the exact procedure that she was given from our district and from our building admin, and because of that, not a single child was hurt, not a single adult was hurt. It happened, and we did it, we moved on, and everything was fine. So, I'm really proud to, stand here and be able to say, like, even when things happen, because of the systems we have, people feel prepared and feel like they're in a safe environment.
System works.
System works. Where our teachers need more support, these are just the three main things. Feedback and coaching. My assistant principal and I have spent a lot of time this year handling behaviors. We have boots on the ground, and we are answering walkie-talkie calls, and we are intervening, and we are modeling for teachers and for our behavior interventionists what we want to see, what type of consequences we want in our building, and how we follow through, and how we hold people accountable. So we've been doing a lot of that work this year, and feedback and coaching has not fallen to the wayside. However, it has been kind of secondary to that, because we can't have good teaching and learning if we don't have control on our building. So, feedback and coaching and being intentional with the feedback, making sure it aligns to our teachers' PGPs, making sure it aligns to our district expectations. We're doing a lot of really good work in PLCs with the KDE unit and lesson internalization, and that has been really good. I sat in PLC yesterday with a fourth grade teacher. We pulled up the work we've been doing, and she said, "I'm even up just yesterday to write my lesson plan." And I was like, "That's the point. next year, I think we're really gonna have the behavior improve significantly so that we can focus on the feedback coaching. Emotional well-being, we already kind of touched on that, just the day-to-day emotional demands of being a teacher in 2026. It's hot, and we gotta find ways to reduce burnout, and things, being empathetic and being transparent. Thinking about resources, that was our lowest percentage. It was, 51% is at what the state is, ours is 44. So, our teachers who are returning feel the pain of the staffing allocations and how that has changed significantly since the last time they took the impact. We make it work. I think we've got some good systems going, but we could always do one or two more people. So, they have expressed an interest in feeling like if we could have those one or two more people, it would make a big impact. I think specifically our 5th grade class, they're our biggest behaviors, and we could just spread that among one more classroom. I think that would really help the teachers feel less support. And like they're not all packed. So, need for staff support, how can we better support teachers with behavioral and academic challenges, and really, it's just a lack of dedicated support that our admin is constantly helping with that. And we have had some new staffing come in December. We hired another behavior interventionist, instructional assistant, some more academic instructional assistants, and that's helped, and we've been able to be more academic focused in the spring, but that's our biggest need. I think really, if you spoke to our staff today, 4 months later, I think they would still have the same response. And it's just kind of that same 28% thing where our staff feels like they need more people. And then breaking down the emotional weight of the work, 59% favorable was our score for the emotional well-being. So that question there in the quotation is the one that had that score. How concerned are you about your own emotional well-being as a result of your work? Teaching's hard, and our kids have high needs. So just trying to find ways to reduce that burnout is kind of on our plan in the next year. What's working well? School safety and environment, trust and respect from leadership and teachers, empathy during personal challenges, and a commitment to educating diverse learners. What we're focusing on, classrooms being a little too full, hiring some more interventionists and specialists to support, teacher coaching, teacher improvement, protecting teacher mental health through trauma-informed practices. I sat down with Mr. Grigson today, and we looked at professional development for our teachers, and trauma-informed care and behavior management are 2 really big areas of focus this year for the summertime. We want to prep them before we return in the fall. And then improving that instructional coaching, which I'm working closely with our TNTP liaison. She currently meets and we talk about instructional coaching practices and cycles. We're going to keep looking at the data. Not just the academic data, but the behavior data. We do have a lot of behavior referrals. We do have those sorts of things documented, but I tell my teachers to document everything. I'd rather have too much documentation than not enough. So, on paper, if you look at our behavior referrals and things like that, we have a lot. We're looking at ways to minimize that through improving our teachers' capacity. And that goes with, revamping coaching, getting them those professional development opportunities, and then, you have better teaching because of it. This summer, I'm working really diligently on clear consistency. I've got a big running list. Every time I think of something, we need a system for that. Put it up the list. I'm working really closely with Jenny Watson and Jenny Wagner and I. Meet weekly, and we talk about this system. She's helping us, just establishing those, getting them very, going through it with a fine-tooth comb and making sure we have something for everything. All classes, nurse visits, and behavior referrals, imagine we're getting a system in place for, and then we're putting it in like teacher facing, like, one pager, so everyone knows what the expectations are. And then improving the professional learning experience, which I just mentioned, I spent the morning researching, different opportunities that we can send our teachers to. And that's what's the one That's all I got, so,
Got a question for you.
yeah.
Specialized teachers was mentioned a couple of times. Did anybody specify what they meant by specialized teachers?
Well, it's a multiple choice question, like survey, and there's not really opportunity for, that kind of feedback, but with like conversation, we have, talked a lot about an MTSS coach, which means intervention, like having a specialized coach for the intervention, having a specialized coach for instruction. Just that way, that way we have a behavior person, we have an intervention person, we have an academic person, and then it's not me and Mr. Grigson taking off our many hats and trying to put those back on and be those kinds of people. Yes, very much so.
How many coaches do you have in your building?
Zero.
Excuse me?
Zero. We had one, she was our MTSS coach, she retired in February. We chose not to fill the position for 2 or 3 months because we have the systems in place for what she was doing to kind of get through the rest of this year, but we needed some time to hire coaches.
We're starting the year now.
Yes, so when you took the survey, you did have.
Yes. I think, we had multiple last week. And then in the cuts, we lost some of those.
I think it's also important, like, you don't have a behavior coach, but you have a behavior intervention teacher.
Yeah.
Who can support teachers with classroom management strategies.
Yeah, and this year has been a very reactive system, like walkie-talkies and come to this classroom and do this. And as we go into next year, the goal is that it will be more of a coaching, modeling, teaching, less running around and getting, problem solved in the moment.
So your behavior intervention teachers, what grade is your serving?
All grades. So,
From 3 to 6?
yes, I have one behavior intervention teacher and one behavior intervention instructional aide, which is like, they service all grades. And we don't have an in-school suspension.
Do you have any mentoring programs that? Any of those programs determine?
Like teacher mentoring each other?
No, big brother, big sister.
Yes, so, we have Mr. Al, he's with Big Brother Big Sister, he comes a few days a week and he does small group, like meetings with, groups of boys,
Okay.
male students.
Well, hopefully, and I know we just introduced our new volunteer program, where it's actually online and maybe, having a system where people can actually volunteer to maybe support teachers in ways. Because we have a lot of retired professionals in our community that have mentioned to us multiple times that they want to come and help and be volunteers. And so we're hoping that this door will open them to come. But we have to let them know what the needs are.
Yeah.
So we need to, let people know what the needs are in our schools. And it may attract certain professionals who are retired and looking for something to do. Because we hear it all the time in different meetings that we tried to volunteer, we couldn't get in, and things like that. And so that was the need, we kept pushing for that volunteer system. So that it's not one person, if that person's out, we don't know who to talk to, there's a system in place, the person can sign up, and, that information is shared, throughout the district. So hopefully that will help, because I know other schools, with the same challenges that we have, they have a very supportive community. And so we need to work to improve, as Ms. Covington says, to improve, on inviting them and letting them know what our needs are. I believe someone, says it, then I'm gonna open the door for you to see it, put your foot forward. If it's talk or if it's action behind what you say. When we can see it, that commitment's there, it's like, when you want to see it.
Yeah, we just, had our kickoff lunch for Watchdog Dads, our new volunteer group for male role models, and Mr. Davis was our only attendee. After Miss did one-on-one phone calls to community members, and we posted. We're working on it, we had one. So, and yeah, I think it's down just down to Mr. Davis also to volunteer in our book fair. So we have a need and we keep reaching out.
We'll keep reaching out. We'll keep letting them know there's plenty to do.
There is plenty to do.
And so if you could share that information with the board members, because we're in the community, and if people are coming to us saying we want to volunteer, I'd be so happy to share all the opportunities for them to come into our schools and help.
And I was standing at the corner store while the kids were shopping. That's not.
Yeah.
I tell my parents, we need your schools volunteer.
Yeah.
Complain, not doing anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, you know.
Me too. And I welcome them to come in. We've got our library, our book fair is happening this week. We've got some volunteers. Even cafeteria monitors or just eyes in the hallways. It's really interesting to see the behaviors change when people from the community. Yeah, I mean, I've watched it with my eyes. Our students see someone they know and they're like, hello? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yes.
And you will get a different response. You go down here to push. And that is all it is. It's not your kids coming in, it's gonna be a different response.
Yeah.
From you being a principal to you being someone who's supposed to, she responds differently.
Yeah. I was just walking my dog this morning and I ran into a student going to the bus stop. And she's like, what are you doing here? I mean, that's my house. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. When I passed out Halloween candy, they were like, what are you doing? They let me out so I can pass out candy. So, yeah, we're working on it, but I will say we have happy teachers.
Good.
And that's a good start.
Yes.
So, thank you.
The numbers were good in the areas of leadership and education and everything, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
No. All right. Really stated.
That's your same one, you're saying, Angela, put that on my mind, she must have thought it was something more calling.
It's treated as a second.
So my data went down. Very disheartening. If you actually could share with the staff, say that. But I'm glad that way forward, moving forward, and everything can, we've all followed for a very, very long time. So I didn't put like the actual numbers, on my slides, or just kind of what, Dr. Robinson, what a recap, but I did pull up. Well, I guess I can, yeah, so this is, sorry, I can remember, my screen like this. Can I make it one page, Rusty, where it's not showing like this, or is that not an option?
What kind of document is that?
PDF. That's probably not on somebody's time, okay. So there's, I wasn't sure this one page is one, the different categories. So, can you see this numbers okay, or do I need to make it?
No, you could just talk.
Okay, so like everything else, we did 68%, that's down from 7 from my other survey 3 years ago. So just in general, each category went down. Our lowest category was feedback and coaching, which has not occurred this year. I've gotten in classrooms, very little, for like walkthroughs. Just making, distractors.
And let the record show, you did not have an assistant principal, correct?
Correct, but that's,
I know,
but it's still, yeah.
yes, we just want it.
And I haven't been a behavior intervention person, so I have been doing more behavior, well, I didn't do all the last year, but, we had very different roles, and, but, yeah, my AD, and then our behavior intervention is teaching, class, all that hour of the day, so not just for that, but just the demands of the job. So I think it's gonna be low. We didn't spend a lot of time with our staff talking about that one. But they want the feedback and coaching, and I've been with them all year, so I was not surprised by that. And then the professional learning had kind of a big jump, and the rest, didn't dip too much. But they did go down, which is not a big deal. But that's sort of just a snapshot of the different areas and where we fell, the results of them. Some of them were kind of similar to what like Alex was talking about, when we did have a conversation. So when I went through with staff, during the faculty meeting, I didn't make any kind of slide, I just went through the actual questions, question by question by question. Because there definitely are some on there that when the admin team looked at it, I did talk with Autumn about some things. I even had some people come and they saw it, I guess on social media or whatever. They were kind of shocked by some things, because there's some specific questions within each of those categories that I was like, really? Like, I'm really surprised that this cut down or whatnot. I told us, we went question by question. It was very open forum, so people could just say what they want to say. We did have some conversations similar to what Dr. Walker said with like, really, you don't think your kids are respectful? Like, they walk in the hall, those halls, and say, yes, ma'am, my contact, or, and in some questions, we had conversations where they interpret the question differently than what other colleagues.
Okay.
Kind of similar to also Dr. Watkins was that some of the emotional well-being questions, individual questions, some of them say the same, some of them went down a lot, worrying about the well-being of their peers, their colleagues. And when we had a conversation with the staff, some of it came from having really high second grade numbers. We needed to open a room before school started when we could find a teacher. And we found one, but they would not have been a good fit, and we waited it out. We had a fantastic one who's been working really hard. And so that some of those questions we did pretty well. But I was really excited that 100% of the staff felt that the leadership team was all making decisions about the with students. Although some of this initiative, they questioned it were low, so I don't want to apologize for that one, but I was glad that they really felt that the team is making decisions with kid in mind, and that's our focus. So, professional learning was one that dipped really low, and we have a lot of staff that have been with us for a long time. And one thing that came up with several people were, they were here, we had $500,000, and it was sending them all over the country, and they were like, we want to do that. Well, just that, and that's not realistic. Districts don't fly people all over the country to see Ron Clark and those sort of things. So that was, because this year they actually had some independent on their PD. Again, confused by some questions were like low, and like they had a lot more choice, I feel like this year than we had in some years. But something that came up was that they were doing like really high level training for like several years in a row. So some of our tenure, veterans have been there a while, remember that, and we haven't quite had that. I'm going to come my slides here. Yeah, we had, and this is like part of near the middle and end of Golden Sun. It was like hundreds of thousands of just for me. And so we were sending people, to. I got like 9 of them, and PLC model work and whatnot. So, and also keep in mind, we have a lot of staff that, you know, this is a pretty survey kind of looking at where we have done.
And, you know, with grant money, you have to spend it. You can't save it, hold on to it, you have to spend it in that period of time, and so a lot of times, that was the gun that a lot of them were under, so they had to be very creative when it came to the PPE contest. It was for that. And it's you spend it or lose it.
Yeah. And some of our teachers, I mean, having a staff that's been there a while together, felt, you know, we went from all the extra staff, you know, it was staff in some cases, in some departments are, and we don't have. So they're doing that, it wasn't about like, oh, we don't have our panels aren't working or our iPads aren't working, it was more about people than it was. And something that, we talked about, they brought up, you know, interventionists and what they don't realize that, what they should realize that interventionists, because I was an interventionist and I was also a question teacher, like the people that are in the question really listening to the difference, not interventionists. So, so they were, that was something that started, they went in, like the pull-out type intervention, like staff needs to have. But in general, staff and leadership have strong relationships. Teachers, we're using data, we are always looking at data, that's reflected in the survey, and that they felt they had strong instructional practices. They perceive the school as a safe environment, and I kind of talked about this already, some of it, but another key takeaway, opportunity exists to improve staff well-being, feedback coaching, which we had already talked about, and the resources, which really was more about, based on when we had that face-to-face conversation about it, was people versus stuff. And then I have the new curriculum, which we're already looking at new curriculum. Constraints, positive relationships between staff and leadership. High confidence that the school leaders have the best interests of the school in mind, and that we have a safe and supportive environment for students. Some more things the data is telling us that staff value collaboration and leadership. They haven't necessarily felt all that support this year, but they value that. And that the teachers are committed to improving instruction, they want that coaching, they want that feedback. Staff well-being and workload concerns. And I think, again, that came from, and this came out when we had that face-to-face, you know, high numbers in second grade. They're stressed, they're trying to work. People see that, so they know their peers are upset. Student behavior, that, and it came out when we had a discussion, a lot of came from our second grade, people that work with this, not saying just the teachers, but people that saw that, and they were high numbers. And they have more behavior in that grade level than other grade levels, and impacting instruction. And that's something we always need to work on, just, you know, with the kids, just, you know, that trend is changing, where more workers are coming out emotionally ready for school. And then with the staff, they want us to be in their coaching, maybe do that, and so that's good. And then Aaron preferred, kind of already talked about it, but just getting in the classroom for instructional improvement, support for managing student behavior, and I really do feel like we have a strong system. I think we did get a couple of tweaks this year, but I think this year being a little bit different because we haven't our behavior person is teaching class for all the day now, and not doing as much of the behavior support as they were in previous years, and then support personnel like intervention. And then, so next steps, so like I said, I just put up a document and just went question by question. Teachers did share some things, talk about some things, but there are definitely some questions on there that I have to go back to a second person, and I'm not sure what they're perceiving and why it was going up. A lot of them did get that, like, little, that somewhat, saying that it doesn't like count, you know, but they fell in that category. So I created nothing fancy, just a Google form with not email addresses, and any question that was went down more than any individual question that went down more than 15%. I just copy paste the question, and it's just whatever you want to talk about. Whether you have ideas on how to improve it, if you want to give me examples of how or what is maybe going on in the building that's, causes this fine, kind of like an open-ended with those questions, so, working on getting that back, it did go out for this week. Just to get anonymous, feedback if people are, on the local level, or kind of sharing some things, and then, keep pushing feedback. And we'll use this actual survey, but I'm really looking at, I feel confident that teachers will give us specific things, like, here's an example of something that happened, and maybe you can help us better understand, how the questions are answered within different categories. And then, again, always continuing to strengthen our behavior support systems that we have in place, and helping kids where you want to be in touch.
So I have a question. You said that the behavioral interventionist is teaching the class.
Teaching is special area. Because we had, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to figure out, are they teaching a class of, students who are no, are they teaching like grade level class? Are they teaching a special area class? Like how, what is that look like?
Teaching special area. So we have currently 5 each grade level, and we were able to maintain 5 specials that allowed all 5 teachers to come together for PLCs. There was a time at one point where we had, 3 split, because if you didn't have specials, then that's not good. And having that common time to plan is so critical, so they can share ideas and put the data together, because you don't want to do so much of that during a faculty meeting in 45 minutes. So when we went down to 5 classrooms, which has been a number of years at this point, we were able to have a 5th special area we had a Spanish class for a couple of years. We were not able to fill that, and we hired someone, and they taught social studies, which is great, because they incorporated social learning, but also like traditional social studies, like we learning about community and things of that nature. And so when we lost that Spanish class, social studies, class, we would have had 4 specials, which we could have made that work in the schedule, but then there's not time for the whole team to come together and have that common planning. And so we decided to have our behavior person, she's teaching social studies, and then of course we opened up that extra room, so both of her days teaching a special area. So she has about an hour and a half where she's doing behavior intervention supports. And she's taking it on extra, she's doing, out her work day. Because she helps in my data, she's getting to lunch and check out, she looks very close to the counselor. And I guess that, but there are times of the day where, we reworked some other schedules about getting put out PLCs, I need to be in PLCs, so we reworked some people's schedules and breaks and that. So I'm not, without PLCs, but learning that we're not quite. I do feel like we need a student. We have, our counselor, we've got a lot of great systems with behavior, but I think that's still, again, kind of 5 classrooms in 2nd grade, and just a lot of personalities that were clashing within those classrooms that were 28 kids in the room. It was, that's a lot. And then I moved to 5th in the beginning. And we had split that class there, we didn't have a new teacher hired yet, so I think a lot of support from that. Because kids are getting support, we have a lot of things in place for kids. And we have a lot of kids that are taking out all their tier 2 interventions of behavior. We're not just got off their system today. Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of counseling, it used to be that since you're by yourself, at one time, there used to be a situation where a counselor could go into the office, help the administrator with testing kids' behavior and counseling. In your position, it's just you. So who's assisting you through 7 to 4 during the day? When you have kids, parents, assembling, do you have that extra stand-in person to come in with you? If you have emergency, maybe the guidance counselor. who would know what we need to do, what part can she play to help assist you with some of these positions?
She does, yeah, we do, we look at that at the beginning of the year, and so, she is, I respond to behavior as a consequence, and we went back to a positive relationship, and that's not just a Newport rating, that's really best practice for, but now she will go troubleshoot for sure, she's not a disciplinarian. We just make it work, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, yeah, we did more, Mr. Word returned in January, so that's a huge, so they did already, you know, she did go in, Laura Fisher, well, she's doing that, but, she came back in January, she does 3 days a week, and so it's been a big change of having her there, she's helping make behavior calls, she's coaching, that was her role, you know, for 10 years, so when she came in, we did focus on back to coach on, we had one brand new teacher this year. Sorry,
Everyone doesn't know who Laura Fisher is.
she was our instructional coach. She's been in Newport with me her whole career. She retired at the beginning, and then, she came back in January. But no, she did great for that position because she can hit the ground running. We didn't train anybody. I know Dr. Walker mentioned about hiring a coach and like with 3 months left, it would have been hard for her, that would have been the work for her to try to catch somebody up. And so Laura did come in, came back and forth her first day, here's your calendar, here's the new teachers, we've been providing support, I want more, I need to do this, and, you know, and so, that's a huge. But prior to that, I did have to learn how to rely on other people more, that's for sure, like the counselor took on some things, some of our special area team took on helping with the newsletter, helping with Walk Cafe, which sounds small, but it's a huge thing, with health systems and planning events. So, the special area team really stepped up, little things like,
It's not easy, but kind of people for our transition as well, we talk about less people, but roles and responsibilities, what can the STC do that aligns that, maybe the assistant principal, so what can the STC do now that aligns with that? Anything the research center do that align with her role as administrator? Not that you're not wanting to do the work, you know, you're okay doing the work, but it's just efficient, so everybody gets a little bit more, so.
and there's stuff that, like stuff that, can be taken home, is taken home, so I can be there with the behavior or meet with parents, or make phone calls, and that's, I mean, that's signing up, so. Sort of hard, it's not funny there, so, you know, so it was okay, you know, we made it, and that's, we got people who, you know, I guess would help them step up and we made it work. No, I think it's a big spot. I think, you know, at this point, you know, but I know there's.
Yeah.
And so.
You have volunteers to come in and help out?
Not that kind of stuff, but we have actually gotten more volunteers this year for just things, you know, yeah, we kids are adults in the building, talking with kids, sitting with lunch with them, or just. We got one parent coming in, starting in pencil, I mean, just small little things, you know, that. Now, Tuesday morning, that's what we're on Tuesday. We brought out every pencil sharpener we have in the building, but they recharge on next week. So.
Make sure they work it. Little things are very.
Yeah.
May not think, but.
So, before we move on, and this is just directed to you, the principals, I'm wondering, and I don't want numbers because I feel like that's invasion of privacy, but I'm wondering if these behavior issues, special ed needs, orphan needs, IEP needs, you know, to address some of their behaviors. Because I'm sure that some of these behaviors kids that just might need a little extra help.
Some of our, like the ones that are, if it's special education, they're already identified, whether they're in preschool, or we see that in kindergarten, we get that big collection, you just start collecting data so that we can, if we don't need to change, we can start that process if need be. We do have just, there's a handful that, it's not an official certification, it's home, it's other things that, social, they, their first person to snack, you know, and like, I've been to my whole life, and I remember like, kids hitting me at, you know, recess, or kids hitting me for whatever, or me, but that's often their first reaction, is like they hit, or say something, me back, and then, you know, blow into something else, so, I know some kids come in the district, I feel like you catch them by kind of the primary, it's a special education or private for need, but that's not to say kids that move in with maybe high needs and capabilities that, you know, we have some kids, I think, second grade, that they might have moved around a lot, so they need the mental support, but they move around too much, that the process is not finished, or that kind of thing, but not as big of an issue that has been, that has happened before. And we had someone that participated, we had parenting Friday, and we've been calling with parent meetings and beginning of the school year, offering time, and offering this, and it's like, they didn't want intervention, they didn't want to, well, thank you so much, I was going to call you, and we hang up on us, so we'll keep coming back, so we need Friday, but I mean, so some of it's like, some of it's like, not long, and it's good in some of those cases.
And that's not uncommon where the parent is in denial. I came up at a parent meeting that I was at, and some parents are, you know, in denial about their child's condition. You know, and accepting is a process for them when you identify. So sometimes the delay is due to parents, you know, accepting, you know, that your child has a special need or needs a little extra help. So unfortunately, you know, that factors into some of the challenges you all face every day too. So we commend you for all your work and everything you're doing to help our children be successful. And as Tim said, keep us posted. I'm sure Matt will, you know, do whatever he can to help you all and maybe speak to the board if there's anything, you know, we can do to help you all continue this, you know, fight to educate our kids.
I feel good about our family teams and clearly like the data at high school. I mean, like,
Yeah,
oh,
you
yeah.
know, everybody had to leave the store.
Yeah. I mean, I even just the growth of the high school, because being a parent, you know, I know being in the district, I know all the behind the scenes and stuff, you know, or just my kids, you know, and things, so. We're getting there.
The last time was a rough year.
Yeah.
And so considering how the year started, I think, you know, things are going in the right direction. You know,
I like your idea of getting feedback, lowest scores.
Yeah.
See what you say.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Could be perception or misunderstanding.
Yeah, and there were some things leading up right before that person, really hard conversations that I, you know, people were not happy about.
I've taken impact surveys, and it depends on where you are in that moment. You know, 3 months ago, you could have been in a great place, but, you know, something had happened, you know, in your career, you got some news, some changes, and that survey is based on where you are at that moment. And that, unfortunately, it can be right. This situation really is based on where that person is and what's going on in their life, you know, and it all can factor into their response. So you have to keep that in mind. I mean, there were some times I just wanted to skip the question. I didn't want to say how I felt, you know, so you kind of go in the middle, right, man? You know, in the middle, because you really don't want to be that person because you're not really sure what's factored into what you're feeling. You know, she like where you work. But there's some things that are happening that you're not happy about, so you don't really want to, you know, mess up the survey, you know, based on your emotions. So it's a lot of things to factor in, but it's good information, you know, that's what it's for. It's there to help you all, you know, realize what's going on and what to do, and then report to us, and the superintendent to let us know how we can continue to support you all. You know, because that's our goal, is to make sure we do what we can to help support you all to continue to be successful. You're the ones in the field doing the work. So, thank you.
And everyone's in a new position this year, all three.
Yes.
All three of you.
Right. And
Carry two officers.
Like I said,
Majority of the people in this room are in new positions.
and the leadership, we had good scores.
You guys.
And well, yeah, and I think all of us, I mean, Nate, I found his hire, you're walking into like challenging positions, but we all went into it. I was gonna be in it, years, if I took our, and then, like, we're here, because we love what we do, and we're dedicated, all those sort of things, like, we all, not just in different, but a lot of other, different positions, new positions, are taking on new things to help support each other, yeah.
You guys have the dedication shows.
Stay in pushing on. Don't give up. I know what you're, I know it's not easy. We're together, we can do this. So we're moving on up like the Jeffersons. It's all about our kids and love them, don't get them. Love them to death. The little kid that hit you, you saw, I love you this much anyway. And keep it moving. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Principals, real quick for you, Lee, I think this should link to. We will talk real quick about teacher appreciation at one time. So you can hang out just about 5 minutes. You know, do that for you.
All right. Yes.
So the under new business, there it's a contract for ASL. Previously, the board had approved 2 contracts for one contract. However, it's incredibly difficult right now, especially at this time of year, able to find an ASL interpreter. So
There's also a significant shortage right now in the state of Kentucky,
so
balance the efforts.
So we have another contract coming to the board. Brandon has reviewed the contract. The only other thing that I would add to this is that there was one item that Brandon mentioned about there's like a non-compete that we can't hire. If we get a ASL interpreter, we essentially can't steal that ASL interpreter from that company, which we would not do that anyway, because we don't necessarily need somebody full time, we just need somebody who can do those services.
Yeah.
But that's all that's on there. And Carrie's here to answer any specific questions.
There's a lot to read.
It is a lot to read.
So keep it simple, and where are we?
We're still searching. Typically, you have to contract with an agency before they will begin the search. So I have to have a signed contract before they can begin searching.
So the previous company did not.
So that's second contract. Yes, this is like the 9% agency I have contacted. The other agencies have told me right off the bat.
So the child's still in our custody and we can't let him go.
Any questions regarding this contract? Have a
We're gonna
motion
keep
to
pushing
approve.
forward and keep trying
Has
to
been moved in second, all in favor? This is what we do. Having the challenge, we rise to it, we persevere, and do what we're supposed to do. So that's what Newport is known for. You have to do what it's like. Thank you, Carrie, all of you, for all your hard work. You know, it is not taken lightly. Okay? We appreciate you all. All righty, there's nothing else to do, motion to adjourn. This is all the second, all in favor? Good meeting, good conversation. Thank you all.